While searching for a cure for a deadly virus, a scientist created a deadly rain that caused people to die screaming, in agony upon getting wet. Within days, half the world began to disappear from the map. To escape this rain, a team quickly retreats to a mansion, where the residents provide them with a room to live in, clean water, and food. But a few days later, when Martin goes down to the basement, he is horrified to discover a dead body hanging in the freezer, as if it had been slaughtered. Angry and fearful, he heads upstairs to where the ceremony was taking place. The final act of the ceremony was beginning. An envelope was placed in front of each person. Initially, Simon and the others were at a loss as to what was happening. Then Alex explains that whoever's envelope yields a flower will have to sacrifice their body for others to eat. This means everyone now knows the truth. All the meat they've been eating for so long was human, and every month at this ceremony, whoever received the flower would willingly sacrifice themselves for everyone. Hearing this, Simon and his companions trembled with fear. Some even vomited in panic. They immediately tried to escape, but Alex's men caught them. No one was allowed to leave before the ceremony was over. Frightened, Simon and Rasmus opened their envelopes. Both were empty, meaning they were safe. But then it was revealed that the flower had been found with Leah. Now it was her turn to sacrifice herself. Leah began to cry in fear. But just then, Martin appeared from downstairs. He punched Alex hard in the face. Just then, Heidi appeared from behind and held Martin at gunpoint. Alex revealed that he had it all. There was no other way. He says that everyone living here knows the system. And because anyone's turn could come at any time, everyone's behavior is always good. Just then, Karen steps forward and takes the flower from Leah's hand. Karen had begun to see Leah as her own daughter and didn't want to be eaten. So this time she decides to sacrifice herself. Leah bursts into tears after hearing this, but Karen tells her to leave. Martin then leaves with his companions. As they leave, Simone asks Hedy about her father, Frederick. Hedy reveals a shocking revelation. He was Frederick's assistant and had a hand in destroying the world. Hearing this, Simone leaves with everyone else. After their departure, Alex expels Eddie from the group. He tells her he couldn't keep someone who had contributed to the spread of the virus with him. Meanwhile, Martin and the others are sitting in the forest, contemplating their next course of action. Suddenly, Heidi arrives, furious. He claims he wanted to inject Resmos with the syringe for a specific reason. No one understands what he means. But before anyone can react, Heidi injects herself with the syringe. The syringe contains the same deadly rain virus, infecting her instantly. Martin shoots her without delay to prevent the infection from spreading further. But now everyone's mind is filled with the same question. Why did Frederick's company produce such a large quantity of the virus? As night falls, everyone stops at an old shed belonging to base. Martin consults a map and explains that the quarantine wall that separated the city from the outside world will take some time to reach. He suggests they grab some food and supplies from a nearby bunker. Simone agrees, but Resmos stops them. He says he's feeling unwell and wants the others to go alone. He also deliberately keeps Beatrice with him so someone can take care of her. Martin, Patrick, and Simone set off for the nearby bunker. On the way, Martin keeps talking to Simone, which makes Patrick feel very bad. After all, they'd been together for 6 years. But things had changed. Since Simone's arrival, Martin had been spending most of his time with her. A short while later, the three reached the bunker. Upon arriving, it was clear that someone had been there a short while ago, but had now left. Martin immediately ordered everyone to gather food and drinks. While he himself began to examine the surroundings, he found several keys and glasses in a drawer. He was a little surprised. At that very moment, Patrick found a tablet, and the data on it devastated him. The tablet contained the details of several people. There were videos of doctors capturing them and conducting experiments on them to develop an antidote for the virus, all of whom were being guided by a doctor over a video call. When Simone saw the doctor's face, the ground beneath her feet slipped away, as it was none other than her own father, Frederick. Simone was devastated. Only then did she realize that this bunker actually belonged to some hunters who captured wanderers and sent them to Frederick's company to test new antidotes on them. Patrick became furious upon hearing this and began speaking harshly about Frederick. Martin intervened, calming him down, telling him that they had to leave immediately. If they delayed any longer, they themselves would become test subjects. Everyone quickly gathered their belongings and began to leave. but suddenly it started raining outside, forcing them to return to the bunker. However, they knew that even hunters don't leave their bunkers during rain, so they were safe for a while. But Simone was still in a bad mood. She sat down near the bunker gate, away from the rain. A little while later, Patrick arrived with a bottle of alcohol. He felt very lonely and said that no one on the team cared about him. With that, he started walking towards the rain. Simone stopped him and explained that he was needed on the team. But seeing Martin's closeness to Simone, Patrick was filled with jealousy. In a rage, he pushed Simone into the rainwater. Seeing this, Martin and Leah ran outside. When Martin saw Simone drenched in the rain, he was horrified, knowing that Simone would now be infected. Patrick kept shouting that Martin should shoot Simone, but Martin couldn't. He had grown fond of Simone and couldn't shoot her. Meanwhile, Leah went to Simone and got drenched in the rain. No one wanted her to die like this. Patrick's hatred had reached its limit. He told Martin that he must now eliminate Leah and Simone. Angrily, Martin pushed Patrick aside and took Simone and Leah back to the bunker. He took him to a quarantine area inside. The story then flashes back to when the world was still normal and Patrick was still working his job. But he wasn't good at anything, which led to his girlfriend leaving him. Patrick's family was so fed up with him that his father gifted him a car and told him to travel the world and never set foot in the house again. Hearing this, Patrick was completely devastated. A few days later, he got in his car and drove to a beach. There he sat alone, smoking marijuana, and slowly fell asleep. Just then, an infectious rain began, killing everyone present there. But Patrick survived. Perhaps fate had something else in store for him. Sometime later, he met Martin. Talking to Martin felt great. He felt as if he had finally found someone who understood him. Since then, Patrick had been with Martin for the past 6 years, and Martin listened attentively to him. But that was until Simone joined their team. Now, in the present, Leah and Simone were sitting in an isolated room, deeply troubled. Fear was evident on both their faces. Outside, Martin also looked anxious. Simone was deeply worried about Resmos, but Resmos was having a great time. In reality, Resmos had deliberately pretended to be unwell to keep Beatrice with him because he liked her very much. Now Beatrice was with him, and the two of them grew close while talking. The atmosphere turned romantic, and they were about to kiss when suddenly, a raindrop from the roof fell on Beatrice's face. Seeing this, both Beatrice and Resmos were terrified and unsure of what to do. But his love for Beatrice was so deep that he decided that if Beatrice died, he would die with her. So he decided to spend his last moments together, intimate with her. Several hours passed, but nothing happened to either of them. Then they realized that the rain had no longer caused the infection. Thinking this, they both slept peacefully there. The next morning, Rasmus woke up and saw a dog licking Beatrice's face. He was startled and immediately chased the dog away. But when he saw Beatrice, he was shocked. Beatrice was no longer alive. The infection had claimed her life. Rasmus was devastated and wept, holding Beatrice in his arms. Meanwhile, Simon and Leah realized that they hadn't been harmed by the rainwater. They were overjoyed. When Martin learned of this, he went out into the rain to see for himself. He didn't notice anything. He happily accepted the scene and began dancing in the rain with Simon. But now he knew that Patrick had deliberately tried to kill Simon. Martin was furious and expelled Patrick from the team. Simon didn't like this, but he said nothing. Patrick picked up his belongings and left without a word. He went to the place where the rest of the team was camped. There, Rasmus was crying, holding Beatrice's lifeless body in his arms. Patrick was devastated to see Beatrice dead. When Rasmus picked up Beatrice's body and tried to approach Patrick panicked and ran, almost falling in another direction. Rasmus was now carrying Beatrice's body towards the bunker. He intended to use Simon's help to find out the true cause of Beatrice's death. Meanwhile, Simone, Martin, and Leah were putting Rasmus's belongings into their bags when they heard Rasmus's voice outside. They immediately ran outside and were shocked to see Beatrice's infected, dead body. Simone was now most afraid that Rasmus might also be infected, so she took him to an isolated room and put on a protective suit herself. She told Rasmus to stay away from Beatrice to prevent the infection from spreading further, but Rasmus ignored her advice and remained sitting next to Beatrice. Seeing this, Simone became sad and quietly left. If you've reached this far, it means you enjoy the story, so a like and a subscribe are in order. Now, when Rasmus had no one with him and had cried for a long time, He realized that Beatrice had been infected by the dog she had owned that morning. But the real reason was something else, which you'll learn later in the video. This devastated him even more, and he decided to end his life. So he took a walkie-talkie and went a short distance from the bunker. Suddenly, his voice came through. A hunter working for Frederick's company was speaking. While talking to him, Rismus learned that the hunters had captured Patrick and were now searching for everyone else to be sent to the company as test subjects. Christmas told them that he was alone at the moment. Hunter asks Patrick for the location of his remaining comrades. Initially, Patrick doesn't reveal anything, but when Hunter breaks one of his teeth, he is forced to reveal that everyone else is in a bunker. In reality, these hunters didn't want to do all this either. However, when they initially joined the company, they were given a drink laced with a microscopic chip. This chip became permanent upon entering the body. If a hunter tried to betray the company, the chip would explode. This explosion would spread the rain virus present in the chip and cause death. This is why these hunters were forced to follow the company's orders. According to Patrick, Rasmus should have been infected by Beatrice by now, but he was still alive. Patrick tells Hunter this. And when Hunter realizes that Rasmus may be immune to the virus, he takes his team in that direction to capture him. Meanwhile, Simone and everyone else also learned that Rasmus had left the bunker. Hearing this, Simone was deeply disturbed. She immediately scanned the surrounding area with a drone and spotted a group of 4 men surrounding a man. Upon closer inspection, Simone realized that the man was Rasmus, and that he had been captured by the same 4 hunters. However, Simone knew that they would not kill Rasmus because he had become too valuable to the company. Therefore, she avoided any hasty actions and first went to Martin and Leah to tell them everything. She wanted them to formulate a proper plan and launch a coordinated attack on the hunters. Meanwhile, Martin and Leah buried Beatrice's dead body. Simone told them about Rasmus. Since Martin, unwilling to lose any member of his team, decided to rescue Rasmus. The next day, he devised a plan and captured one of the hunters' team. Using the hunter's walkie-talkie, he contacted the other hunters and made a deal to meet at a predetermined location to retrieve Rasmus in exchange for the hunter's companion. They took their team and set off for the designated location. They began moving towards the location. However, Hunter's real intention was to capture Martin, Simone, and Leah as well, so that they could be sent to the company as test subjects. But when Simone appeared before them, she held the infected syringe in her hand, which she held near Hunter's partner's neck. This clearly implied that if they made any move, she would inject his partner immediately. This threat prevented the hunters from doing anything wrong, and they had to proceed with the exchange as normal. However, Rasmus was mentally shattered, while Simone was trying to calm him down and reason with him. Rasmus suddenly injected himself with the same syringe. This stunned everyone, and Rasmus fell to the ground, thinking he would be killed. But the next moment, he stood up. This made everyone realize that Rasmus truly could not be infected with the virus, meaning he was completely immune to it. Hunter, relieved by this, explained his situation to Simon. He said that using Rasmus's blood could create an antidote for the virus. This prompted Simon to decide that they should take Rasmus to the same company, hoping to save the world with his immunity. By now, Martin's anger towards Patrick had also subsided. He forgave Patrick and reinstated him. Everyone then set off for the company. When they stopped along the way, Hunter came forward and kissed Rasmus on the forehead. Rasmus was a symbol of hope for him. Hunter then took his car and headed for the company, taking Rasmus and everyone else with him. But shortly after, Hunter's companion died from the virus. This revealed a shocking truth. Rasmus had something in his body and veins that would infect and kill anyone who had any physical contact with him. This meant that Beatrice's death wasn't caused by the dog, but by Rasmus himself. But no one knows this yet. A short while later, they arrive at the company's main base. Upon arrival, the hunters allow only Rasmus and Simone inside the building, while Martin, Patrick, and Leah are sent to a nearby bunker. When they arrive, Leah finds John's jacket, the same one their former comrade captured by the hunters in the previous episode. It's now revealed that John is still alive, but confined in the same bunker in a weakened state. For now, they are provided with good food and a welcome drink. At first, no one trusts the drink, so one of the workers drinks it herself. When nothing happens to her, everyone else gradually follows suit. Meanwhile, as Rasmus and Simone enter the company, they are greeted by a sip of the drink. Upon arriving, A man appeared before them, and Simone was stunned. It was none other than Frederick himself. Seeing him, Simone's mind began to flutter. Frederick, too, was overjoyed to see Simone. They were still talking when suddenly Rasmus collapsed and fainted. Within seconds, the medical team arrived, lifted him onto a stretcher, and carried him to the medical room. Simone's mind was in a state of turmoil, but Frederick refrained from revealing anything for now. He simply left, assuring Rasmus that everything would be fine. When he returned a short while later, the first thing he did was thank Simone for caring for him like a mother all these years. But now Simone wanted to know why she hadn't contacted him for so long. Frederick wanted to tell him, but there were CCTV cameras everywhere. So he quietly led her out of the building and gently told her, "You have to take Rasmus away from here immediately." In fact, Frederick was the one who accidentally exposed Rasmus to the virus. He somehow cured him, but the antibodies formed in Rasmus's body were due to his bone marrow. And if anyone tried to extract that bone marrow, Rasmus would die. That's why, after leaving the bunker 6 years ago, Frederick never returned to them. The company's boss had forcibly sent him to the bunker to see if Rasmus was alive. But there, he pretended they were both dead, and shut down the bunker's communication system to prevent them from contacting anyone. Now Frederick again advises Simon to escape with his brother because he cannot bear to see him die. For this reason, he conducted experiments on ordinary people to try to create more antibodies and save Rasmus. But all attempts failed. After some time, he finally reaches Rasmus. But then the doctor who was trying to collect Rasmus's saliva suddenly starts coughing and collapses, dying. He immediately takes Rasmus's saliva and tests it himself, and the results are horrifying. Now the question is, what's inside Rasmus that's killing everyone? Will they experiment on Rasmus? And will Martin, Simon, and the others survive? To find out, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave at least 100 comments for part 3.